go live so that we can start?
Yes, I will give you a prompt.
Thank you, Jen.
We're going to go live in 1 minute. Okay, I'm starting it. I think we are live.
Good morning, good afternoon. We'll wait for, please bear with us for a few minutes while we allow all other participants to log in. In a minute, we'll be starting to allow everyone to log in and come on screen. Thank you. Good morning to those that are joining us from the United States, which we understand is very cold, and good afternoon that are joining from the warm South Africa, and welcome to the webinar on understanding business opportunities in Northern Cape Province of South Africa. The webinar is brought to you by the Embassy of South Africa in Washington, D.C. in partnership with the Northern Cape Provincial Government, and also working together with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. Africa Business Center, the American Chamber of Commerce in South Africa, and also with the U.S. Consulate General in Cape Town. We are quite delighted that you have joined us for this event. My name is Malosi Letswalo. I'm the Minister Economic at the Embassy of South Africa in Washington, D.C., where I work with Her Excellency Ambassador Mfeketo to promote trade, investment, trade between U.S. and South Africa, and also investment opportunities. I will be directing the program today, and Today we have a great lineup of speakers who will be helping us to unpack business opportunities in the Northern Cape Province, starting with Her Excellency Ambassador Noma India Mfeketo as the host of the event, who will be providing opening remarks. Jen, you can move to the next slide. And then we will then have Honorable Premier, Dr. Zaman Sol, the Premier of Northern Cape Province, who will then deliver the keynote address. After the keynote address by the Premier, we will then play a video that will allow all of us to virtually visit the Northern Cape and see opportunities that the province has to offer. And thereafter, we'll have a team that is led by the head of department, Mr. Tamim Mabija, that will help to unpack specific trade, investment and tourism and other opportunities in the province. They will also be joined from the private sector by Sasol. After that, then we'll have to show the cordial relationship that continue to exist between South Africa and the United States. We will have the acting U.S. Consul General in Cape Town, who will also be making remarks. And from the private sector experience of doing business between South Africa and the US, in particular in Northern Cape, we have the CEO of Masker Motor, Gerard, who will be with us to share the collaboration that the company has had with the US over the years. And at the end, we'll have Ms. Kendra Gaither, the Executive Director of the South Africa-US Business Council, that will come in to moderate the fireside chat and the Q&A. We have an exciting panel that is ready to answer your questions. Please feel free to use the Q&A box to deposit your questions during the event, and at the end, Kendra will be taking the questions and putting them through to the panel. Just to save time, we will not be reading the bios of all the speakers, save for Her Excellency Ambassador and the Honorable Premier. We have sent a program booklet that has the bios of all the speakers together with the contact details. I will now take this opportunity to introduce our first speaker, Her Excellency Ambassador Noma Indiam Feketo. Ambassador has arrived in Washington, D.C. as the Ambassador of South Africa to the United States in March 2020. And prior to that, Ambassador has served the people and the government of South Africa as the two-term mayor of the city of Cape Town, as the deputy speaker of the National Assembly, as well as the deputy minister of international relations and cooperation, and before coming here as the minister of human settlement. And it is my pleasure to invite Her Excellency to provide the opening remarks. Ambassador, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Premier of the Northern Cape, Honorable Dr. Zamani Soul, and members of Cabinet present today, Head of Department of Economic Development and Tourism, Mr. Tamim Mabija, Acting U.S. Consul General, Mr. William Stevens, Vice President of U.S. Chamber, U.S. Africa Business Center, and Executive Director of U.S. SA Business Council, Ms. Kendra Gaither, the President of South Africa Chamber of Commerce in the United States, Mr. Neil Diamond, Acting CEO, Northern Cape Economic Development Agency, Mr. Hendrik Low, business representatives, South African diaspora in the United States, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon in South Africa and good morning to those in the United States. It is my sincere honor to welcome you to this business roundtable with Premier of the Northern Cape Province. Although virtual, I hope that we will soon be able to meet in person. Honorable Premier, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to participate in this event and share with the business community, both United States and South Africa, the opportunities that your province present. I know the province is rich in minerals, and it is also has a great potential for renewable energy, amongst other sectors. Most people globally know Kimberley due to its history, diamond, but also due to its contribution to global governance through the Kimberley process. I look forward to your keynote address, as well as the presentation of specific opportunities that the business community can start taking advantage of in Northern Cape. Premier, in the Northern Cape investment prospectus, you indicated that vision for 2030 of the National Development Plan urges that the formulation of foreign policy should be informed by principles that both reflect and support national interest. In this regard, you then argued that this requires that global partnerships be developed that will secure markets, capital, and technology. As our contribution to Northern Cape, we're forging these global partnerships. The embassy is putting together this roundtable, have worked with partners that would like to see growing and diversified mutual beneficial trade and investment relationship between South Africa and the United States. These partners include Consulate General of United States in Cape Town, the U.S. Chamber, U.S. Africa Business Center, and American Chamber of Commerce in South Africa. I'm happy that we are also joined by the acting U.S. Consul General in Cape Town, Mr. Will Stevens. Honorable Premier, I hope through this roundtable, more U.S. companies can consider Northern Cape as a destination for their investment, but also importantly, companies from the province can consider the United States as export market for their products. Today, we will hear from a company that is working with US company for manufacturing at the border of Northern Cape and Western Cape, as well as from Sasol about opportunities in the renewable energy space. Trade between South Africa and the US is supported by the unilateral US program known as AGOA, which means Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. AGOA allows that export products duty-free to the United States. I hope that through the roundtable, more companies from Northern Cape will take advantage of this AGOA. The embassy and partners present today remains available to work with Northern Cape to promote the province as destination for trade, investment, and tourism. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, let me introduce Honorable Dr. Zamani Soul, who has been inaugurated as Premier of the 6th administration of the Northern Cape government after African National Congress achieved success in the 2019 general elections. Dr. Soul brings with him a wealth of knowledge and experience and has grown and progressed through the structures of the Congress movement, from Congress of South African Students, COSAS, South African Student Congress, SASCO, ANC Youth League, to branch, regional, and provincial leadership position in the ANC. He holds a doctorate, Doctor of Laws in Public Law and Jurisprudence at UWC, and is currently working on his second doctorate. Early in his career, He worked as a candidate attorney and progressed to work as a regional head of social security, head of ministry, and a municipal manager. With these remarks, I would like to declare the round table open. Now I will invite the Premier to take the floor and provide keynote address. You are welcome, Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Excellency Ms. Noma India Feketo. Let me also thank the Program Director for steering the ship. Let me also take this opportunity to greet members of the Executive Council in the Northern Cape. I've seen there are some of them that have basically joined these engagements. And let me greet the Acting Consul General of the U.S. Consulate in Cape Town, Mr. William Stevens. The HOD of Economic Development, Tamim Abija, is also part and parcel of the engagement, accompanied by the Acting CEO of the Northern Cape Trade and Investment Agency, Mr. Hendrik Lowe. Let me greet also the Executive Director of the USSA Business Council, Ms. Kendra Gaita. There's quite a number of government officials who are also part and parcel of this virtual platform. And let me also greet all the business leaders in your eminence who are also part and parcel of these engagements. You are dearly welcomed to participate in this very important gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, to those in the US, good morning, and those here in South Africa, good afternoon. And yesterday, when I had my initial engagements with Her Excellency Feketo, she told me how cold it is, that's right. And this side is just the direct opposite. Temperatures are soaring. We are close to our 40 degrees Celsius. Program Director, I would first like to recognize our ambassador, the embassy team, and our United States of America counterparts, and all present and participating on this platform. Thank you for this opportunity and for joining us. As the Northern Cape Province, we pride ourselves to be a prime investment destination and trade partner. Our offer extends over many sectors, which are relevant to our discussions. My role is to trigger your interest for a trade and investment journey, which will commence today and ultimately evolve into partnerships that will benefit the province and that will benefit the investors. Allow me to provide you with a brief background on the Northern Cape Province. Northern Cape is one of the 9 provinces in South Africa. In land mass, we make up 33% of the South Africa's land, with a size of 370,000 square kilometers. In total contrast to the size of our land is our population, that is a mere 2.2% of the South African population, accruing to just over 1.3 million people. We are a sparsely populated province, but we are endowed with ample natural resources, which are the drivers of our economy, that accrues to an annual gross domestic product of 107 billion. In dollars, it's about $7 billion. Realizing the Northern Cape's vision of being a modern, growing, and successful province with a sustainable development focus requires a firm balance of 3 critical enablers, which is social, economic, and environmental factors, in order to attain sustainable development. To enable this vision to be achieved, the Northern Cape has identified economic development and growth to be the first pillars of our Vision 2040. So what I'm just trying to emphasize is that we've got different strategies that we've developed in order to ensure that we build a modern, growing, and successful province. Our vision for the province basically stands on 3 pillars. We need to modernize the province to keep pace with the 4th industrial revolution, and also we need to grow our economy to be able to create the much needed opportunities, and particularly job opportunities for young people. And we say that we need to make the Northern Cape province successful. So those are the 3 pillars that defines our strategic posture with regard to governance in the Northern Cape. And making the province successful is basically anchored on 2 apex programs, which is improvement of our public education system and public health. Program Director, noting the structural capacity of our economy, our resource base and consumption trends, we need to industrialize to ensure that we have a growing economy. This industrialization process, on the other hand, must be actively led through the supply of local demand and through value adding, whilst capturing maximum value chain at source, right here in the Northern Cape. As a province, we have been a world leader in diamond exports. I'm certain everybody knows about that. The Excellency Feketo has referred to this. And if you get into the diamond space, they will tell you about the Kimberley process and the quality of Kimberley diamonds. And also in the fresh produce of our latest breakthrough, green hydrogen and knowledge. The province is home to what we call as SKA, the Square Kilometer Array, which is about advancing astronomy, cosmology, and deep space research. I can further go on to boast that we host the most extensive solar and wind energy fields, the global producers of iron ore, manganese, and zinc, just to mention a few. This wave of opportunities also expands to enable South Africa and the Southern African Development Community to be globally competitive producers and exporters of ex-fuels, and to have access to fuel-related green manufacturing, for instance, green steel. To prove our economic development drive, we took the global and industrialization realities to heart as the Northern Cape. The province ventured on an aggressive planning and implementation process of identifying clusters of consumption and resources, with nodes within which industrial centers or clusters can be created to supply consumption and add value to locally produced resources and generate local products for the globe. In addition to this program director, similar to China's Belt and Road Initiative, or now commonly known as the Silk and Rail Strategy, linking via a corridor from China, the Middle East, and Europe, the Northern Cape linked these clusters and nodes into the corridor for structural, energy, human capital, and market efficiencies to be more globally competitive. At its core, the strategy is to ensure that not only localization and beneficiation, but a total exploitation of the resources of the province and a total paradigm shift from over-reliance on the life of mines and resources at any given time. This corridor and its magnitude of nodes centers on the following sectors. We've got energy, which is the renewable and green hydrogen. Number 2 is agricultural exports. Number 3 is mining portfolio, which includes exports and technology. Number 4, tourism and hunting. 5, fourth industrial revolution. And 6, which is lastly, education. Within South Africa and SADC, energy grid, the Northern Cape is the biggest producer of renewable energy with a spread across wind, solar, and hydro. I think it's very much important for me to mention that over the past 7 years, as the province, we had more than 60 billion rand investment in solar energy. This feeds into the national and regional grids, contributing towards the just energy transition. This has also enabled the Northern Cape's step up, as announced at COP26 during November last year, to be a globally preferred exporter of green hydrogen. Boku Bay, as export harbor and production consolidation site, will be enabled through a special economic zone that is currently in the feasibility study phase. When concluded, it is foreseen for the first 5 gig production to be operational by 2030, ramping up in excess of 40 gigs in the years to follow. Tremendous strides have been made, and we already have Sasol as production partners and a leading global logistics port situated in the European Union, forming part of the said feasibility study. When this investment is fully fledged, it will be the largest single related investment in SADC. Ladies and gentlemen, the Northern Cape and South Africa are preparing to lead the way in this sector, and within and outside the battery limits, we need your investment and partnership. The solar, wind, energy, and desalination investments are the tip of the iceberg. We have 2 major rivers and dam capacity that enables the province to produce top standard fresh produce with great potential for agro-processing. Our fruit, vegetables, meat, hides, grain, nuts, to mention a few, is literally the food basket for top-paying clients in the Northern Hemisphere during their winter months. In addition, is our yield enabling us to produce some of the best wines, raisins, nuts, and dates the world has seen. This does not end here. Our wool, lucerne, and related ocean produce that range from lobster, abalone, to kelp is also renowned. The related agricultural equipments, fertilizers, seed, pesticides, research and development that we as countries share is tremendous, and we can surely localize some of this trade via the new Boku Bay deep sea harbor. Our mining portfolio is so diverse and has been at the heart of mining in South Africa and SADC for more than a century, and I can guarantee you it will be for the next century. Our diamonds have built many economies and cities and have rich reference in New York. The metals, iron ore and manganese as it stands set up globally apart, noting that the Northern Cape has 80% of the world manganese resources, and as we know, no manganese, no steel. Our resources extend to include copper, zinc, heavy minerals, granite, lime, semi-precious stones, and many more. So, Program Director, the challenge I want to pose to you, help us to beneficiate these minerals at source and not to be merely an extraction point. Linking the nodal approach as mentioned above, we are also developing a Northern Cape Industrial Corridor that consists of several nodes that serve as clusters for services and for beneficiation and manufacturing. These nodal areas, which is the R Rail Cargo Hub, Car2 Industrial Park, a key component of our various catalytic projects that must be realized. The Upington Industrial Park, which is already at an advanced stage, and the Namakwa SEZ as the anchor along the corridor and the final destination point completing the corridor. The Boku Bay Deep Port Harbor that will realize imports and exports. This harbor will also be the production and export SEZ for minimum 40 gig green hydrogen electrolyzer capacity. This Northern Cape Industrial Corridor literally focuses on the Northern Cape's key sectors based on our key primary resources and will link up the Northern Cape to the markets to render products and services. This resource portfolio ranges from services such as petrochemical, renewable energy, industry supplies, agricultural produce consolidation, agro-processing, food processing, and several more. Our landmass is not monotonic. We have several biomes and boost from desert, Green Kalahari to Last Savannah. We are furthermore an archaeological, historical, astronomy, and cultural treasure chest. As a tourist destination, we offer the business tourists, the conference tourists, the astronomers, the green tourist, the responsible hunter, the adventure tourist, the unique and the real experience in the Northern Cape. We annually host USA citizens for astronomy studies via our world-renowned SKA and Meerkat, as well as hunters that become friends. As the globe is structuring itself towards the fourth industrial revolution, with artificial intelligence, rapid innovation, and technological abound, we as the Northern Cape do so as well. The likes of the SKA and Meerkat with large data science enable the world to look back billions of years, even to the Big Bang. Furthermore, is curriculum and content that includes maths, coding, and robotics that still remains a huge gap in our province. The USA is a global leader in all the fields we admire, but we also request that you assist, support, and partner with us to unlock our tremendous human capital potential through education. I must also extend a note of appreciation to the USA for your health support during the COVID-19 pandemic towards health. Your donations and support helped us fight this global pandemic. I can guarantee you that the Northern Cape province is working relentlessly to secure investment, enhance trade, and to realize our SADC corridor, the Northern Cape Industrial Development Corridor, and together with our people, we are certain that the investment and diligent partnership throughout all the priority sectors will be a key enabler for this partnership to build our resources and human capital. Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this very creative initiative. We highly appreciate the platform. We firmly believe that it gives us an opportunity to lay bare what the economic potential and opportunities which are there in our province. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier, for the keynote address and for all the information that you have provided. I think there is quite a lot to digest in terms of opportunities and the 6 areas that you have outlined, including education. And also thank you to Her Excellency for the opening remarks. We'll now move to playing the video to virtually take all the participants to Northern Cape.
Globally, it's becoming increasingly rare to find places of genuine new opportunity. Places to do business, explore partnerships, invest, and find markets where you are welcomed with warm hospitality. As large as Germany and as economically diverse, the Northern Cape of South Africa is such a place. As members of the Southern African Development Community, the Northern Cape has secure government structures which seeks to exploit the economic and cultural yield the region has to offer. Among the biggest market forces driving growth is mining, with iron and manganese exports as strong as ever. The Deepwater Port is part of local government's $500 million investment in export facilities. Supported by industrial nodes like the Uppington and Kathu Industrial Park and the Namakwa Special Economic Zone, the High Impact Corridor aims to service an entire economic cluster for services like mining, mineral processing, renewable energy, agri-consolidation, and export. The Northern Cape leads the way in renewable energy, as evidenced by the establishment of the largest solar platform in sub-Saharan Africa. We are also well placed to adapt to and capitalize on the shift to green hydrogen for all heavy hauling transport. Our strong water distribution network allows for a formidable export agricultural industry specializing in wine, grapes, citrus, olives, and dates. The beef industry offers another expanding example of agricultural opportunity. The newly established Sol Plaatje University has created a curriculum that builds graduates tailored for the economic sectors within our province. Boasting the largest landmass in South Africa, we have an insatiable appetite for awe and play inspired by natural splendor like the Kalahari Transfrontier Park and the world-famous Ograbi's Falls. By sharing world-class infrastructure and common goals with our sister province, the Western Cape, accessibility to local and international destinations has become possible owing to strong rail, road, and air links. To make your investment journey into our region easier, our local government established NETA, the one-stop shop for any prospective client. NETA facilitates offers for incentives, investment dialogue, and various support systems like commercial banking and financing enterprises.
I'm personally looking forward to welcoming you and discussing the endless opportunities within the Northern Cape. Not only are there huge industrial opportunities, there's enough space and beauty to enjoy the province. From myself and the people of the province, you are welcome to the Northern Cape.
We will now continue with our program, and we have with us a team from Northern Cape led by the Head of Department of Economic Development and Tourism, Mr. Tami Mabija. The team will unpack the trade and investment opportunities in the province. Mr. Mabija is accompanied by the acting CEO of the Northern Cape Economic Development Agency, Mr. Hendrik Low, and they will also be joined from the private sector by Mr. Pillay, the Vice President of Environmental Sustainability at Sasol, who will also share some of the work they're doing around green hydrogen and so on. So without wasting any time, I'll hand it over to Mr. Mabija.
Thanks, Program Director. Let me greet the ambassador to say good morning on the side of the US, and good afternoon to the Premier and the acting US Consul General. I hereby observe protocol and thank all of you present for this opportunity to showcase the Northern Cape as your prime trade and investment partner. As the Premier have indicated in his speech, we have a wide array of opportunities. And just for today, we're going to focus on the 6 areas that the Premier has talked about, which is your renewable energy, agriculture, mining, tourism, and education. Of utmost importance to the province for today, let us start a partnership and continue our discussions and actions to realize these trade investment opportunities. Today is merely an extension to really stimulate discussions, but going forward, we need to advance and really activate this partnership. We will extend with some more tangible details on these 6 sectors that the Premier has raised. And in that regards, Mr. Low, our acting CEO for the Northern Cape Trade and Investment Agency, will then showcase all these investment opportunities and give more details. But we also went further and also then extended an invitation to our current partner that we're working with, which is Sasol, who is working on the green hydrogen project. I would like to urge you, this, as I've indicated, as in the presentation that will be presented by these 2, which is Mr. Pillay from Sasol and Hendrik from the Department from Trade and Industry, to present on these opportunities. Post this session, we expect that there'll be a lot of engagement with the agency, just to understand and get additional information on the opportunities that are presented here. And with that, let me just introduce then Mr. Hendrik to then take us through the details of the opportunities that we have in these 6 sectors that the Premier has talked about. Hendrik, can you then take us through that presentation? Mr. Lowe, you there?
Afternoon, HOD. Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you very much then with protocol observed as well, extending to you, Madam Ambassador and Honourable Premier. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm briefly going to take you through, and as my HOD has just mentioned, this is just the introduction. Our contact details and far more advice is available, and we would love to extend more detail to you and assist you on your journey towards becoming a trade and investment partner in the Northern Cape. The first point of reference is our Northern Cape corridor. I think it's pertinent to note that as the Northern Cape, we extend along an industrial corridor that links up with a tremendous resource profile, a resource profile for export detail, but also a resource profile for import principle. And therefore the Buchu Bay Harbour, the Buchu Bay SEZ, the Namakwa SEZ, the Uppington Industrial Park, the Kathu Industrial Park, linking with Northwestern Limpopo, link you up with some of the best iron ore, manganese, renewable energy components, the PGM groups, the platinum group of metals, and then the new mineral frontier for SADC for the next 100 years is linked along this corridor, ladies and gentlemen. Then important sectors for us is needless to say our agricultural produce scenario, being in the Southern Hemisphere, near organic circumstances, having the Orange and the Vaal River. We are notorious globally for some of the best fruit, nuts, vegetables, dates, wheat, cotton. Our livestock is very important, commercial, and then in terms of the meat trade. Nuts, olives, and dates, as mentioned, already being exported, and then pristine wines. I know our wines also through Orange River Wine Cellars, GWK, and private labels, finding their way to the consumers in the United States already and highly regarded. When we extend, raisins is another key export of ours, goes very well with the nuts we produce and then the dates, and that complements also our wines. Our vineyards being globally renowned, our dry temperature, our good water resource, yielding some of the best grapes in the world, and currently literally we are sold out to the European Northern Hemisphere market annually in advance. As mentioned, we are key exporters of beef for the Southern and the Northern and the Middle East hemispheres. Also in terms of our mutton production, wool production, and then following suit in terms of our pecan nut production, becoming quite a global expert at that and consolidating extensive volume. This is just a beautiful picture. This is, like my HOD mentioned, we are a beautiful province. If you see this, this is what the Germans refer to mein Heimat, or this is God's land for us. In terms of our mining portfolio, this is what we also well renowned for globally, just as to give you a snapshot of what we have. But ladies and gentlemen, the detail extensive. But as mentioned, all initiated in the 1882s, and that was diamonds. But we've already have original Kumani Sun heritage of copper, diamonds, manganese, iron ore, tiger's eye, the rare earths of latest descent and very closely related to the new just energy transition and the energy minerals related. That all is found here, with mines extending hundreds of years old from our tribal ancestors, but also modern mines with more than 100 years of experience. We have got 80% of the world's manganese resource, to mention just a few of those benefits. And as you can see, we're also looking at the zinc and the copper side rapidly expanding. And our produce in terms of the national equilibrium of mining produce is quite wide and intensive. And you can see the GDP contribution there. This is just to give you a quick overview. As I've mentioned, I think one of our latest and greatest extents are now our rare earths that we are moving in, our heavy metals. And this is really moving fast. So the combination of our minerals, the demand to add value, mineral beneficiation and mining, with the resource in terms of renewable energy and green hydrogen, makes us the ideal location for green steel, for instance, which is going to be in global demand post COP26, as we all know. Tourism and hunting, close to our heart, ladies and gentlemen, with over 300,000 square kilometers, we literally can offer you from desert to savanna, and we've got it all. So coming right through from our natural environment, our astronomy, we are world renowned for that and hosting several countries' astronomy outlets in terms of SALT and also investments in terms of SKA, our culture and our heritage, the origin of man, the Kumani sun, the Khoi sun, archaeology. We can show you also then certain footprints of dinosaur era, a world-renowned Boer war that we had over here with the British, and then our heritage of our rock art, etc. And then, which is very close to my heart, is the adventure side, renowned for global adventure races, etc. And then hosting on an annual basis, of which I had the privilege, several American hunters for the principle of sustainable utilization of natural resources. This also extends in terms of our conservation aspiration. We're hosting 2 Ramsar site transfrontier parks with Namibia and Botswana, with thousands of hectares in pristine conservation. The Kalahari Transfrontier, the private Tswalu Lodge, etc., just to mention a few, which is global benchmarks. The 4th Industrial Revolution, ICT and Astronomy, as mentioned, we are the global anchor host for the Square Kilometre Array. And as my Premier has mentioned, we can literally start researching the Big Bang Theory, and that is hosted right over here by us in partnership, extending later on to Namibia and Australia, but South Africa being the big data center leading that. Also in terms of our university, this is the first university post-apartheid, the Saul Plaatje University, part of our heritage being an intellectual leader and a custodian for the Northern Cape. We've also then got the new university focusing specifically then on large data capability, R&D for the area, but also building the human capital to absolutely enable your investment and to make sure that we are the correct trade partner. So coinciding with that is then also your partnership to take us forward in terms of that. Education, taking us to that partnership side, we are aggressively exploring, and with a nation known for the Silicon Valley, I might just state that I lost my brother to the USA 15 years ago, being a US citizen for many years in Silicon Valley. But this is what we need to do also locally, to give those citizens locally and to empower industry in South Africa. We need your support in terms of opportunities for educational focus, astronomy, engineers, research and development, green hydrogen, robotics, the transitioning and commercializing technology with these new industries, but that by our local partners. Our local population is our dream in essence. And with the 4th Industrial Revolution, link-ups and dialogues with universities, share of curricula, this is just the tip of the iceberg we can explore with one another. Renewable energy and green hydrogen, the buzzword of late. We can see Bloomberg very aggressive and all investors out there. All of us as countries are currently committed and have committed ourselves. And now we must follow suit and see it through. Northern Cape, as mentioned, is ideally placed in terms of land mass, but also our radiation, wind exposure, our water exposure in terms of wave energy and hydro energy. And this culminates into a perfect storm for us to utilize green energy with our ocean resource and then to transitioning towards the green hydrogen sector. Globally, we do know the demand high to transition, and we are perfectly positioned. As my Premier has mentioned, and as the next presenter will present from Sasol, we are the proud hosts of the massive Sasol investment, which is a pathfinder investment. Yes, we are currently in the feasibility study phase, but we are positive that this investment will realize and will ramp a 5 gig in 2030 up to a 40 gig investment and more by 2050 to be a global export leader in terms of ex-fuels. As mentioned, when you talk Mi Casa, Su Casa, our house is yours. We also host the South African one-stop shop in the Northern Cape. And as an investment and trade partner, you can bank on all those support services. Thank you very much, Honourable Ambassador and Premier and colleagues present on the platform. I might just have to slogan this. The Northern Cape is the prime investment destination, offering you the best ranging from Mother Earth to the galaxy. We can even offer you the stars. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Low. Please, Mr. Pile, please continue.
Excellent. And thank you very much for hosting me today. Afternoon to the Ambassador, the Premier, and all dignitaries present. So thank you very much for that kind introduction, Hendrik. And we are really very excited to be here today to be talking about our investment and our future plans in the Northern Cape. But first, let me start just by introducing Sasol, the company that I'm representing. Sasol is a global multinational petrochemical company. We listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and Sasol's real claim to fame is our Fischer-Tropsch technology. This is a technology that converts carbon and hydrogen to valuable chemicals and other fuel products. Now, we see the potential for us to use this Fischer-Tropsch technology, where we have over 7 decades of experience, to bring that to the Northern Cape and start monetizing and creating derivatives in green hydrogen. Before I get into the project, our link with the US, Sasol has had operations in the US for many decades. And 2 years ago, we completed a $12.8 billion investment in Louisiana, in the city of Lake Charles, where we built a chemical cracker project. But now we've seen the opportunity on our doorstep, and we realized that now is the time to come back home and invest in South Africa. So a little bit about the project and specifically what we are envisaging in Boegoebaai. We were there with the Premier about 2 weeks ago. So for those of you to orientate yourself, this is on the far west coast of the province and right on the border with Namibia. At the moment in Boegoebaai, there's not much there except beautiful wildlife and scenery, but we really see the potential for us to develop this into a port with the associated green hydrogen and renewable infrastructure. What will the project entail? So as Hendrik mentioned, we're really looking at starting off with about 5 gigawatts of electrolyzers, but growing that as the global export demand increases and local demand to up to 40 gigawatts. So we really see the potential of Boegoebaai in the Northern Cape as an ideal location for green hydrogen production. We have done our assessments, and we believe that the combination of the renewables, the land resource, the access to infrastructure in the Northern Cape will put us in an advantage in terms of global green hydrogen producers. Hendrik mentioned we're embarking in a feasibility study, and we are really open to bring further partners on board to further develop the project, look at other avenues that we can participate in, and we are really at the early stages of this project development. Sasol has positioned themselves as the lead integrator of the project, but we are not experts in all aspects of this project. We have done mega projects of the scale in the past, but in some areas like renewables, for example, we're very open to bringing partners on board in electrolyzer technology. And this really creates an opportunity for other investors or partners to come on board and participate in this project. The project also has further unique advantages in that it is located in a special economic zone. It's in a renewable economic development zone. So we believe that economically the project will have quite an advantage. If we are successful with the full-scale implementation of the project, we think that this has the potential to create up to 6,000 jobs in the province. And in the long term, as electrolyzer and renewable costs come down, this really has the potential to become one of the lowest cost green hydrogen producers globally. And we believe that we can get green hydrogen from this location at between $1.50 to $2 a kg, which will put us in a very attractive point in the green hydrogen cost curve. Quickly, what does the project entail? So it will really look at new infrastructure to bring in renewables. And as Anup mentioned, we would start with about 9 or 10 gigawatts of renewables. This would be a mix of wind and solar, which would then be dedicated for green hydrogen production. And we could ramp that up very quickly. We look at green hydrogen production and then converting that green hydrogen, either liquefying it or converting it to green ammonia and making that available to the export market. But ideally, the long-term ambition would be to bring that hydrogen either into the rest of the country or to convert it into much higher value derivatives like green aviation fuel, green waxes, green chemicals, green lubricants, and make that available to the export market. So we really see the potential for the Northern Cape and for Boegoebaai to become almost the sustainable chemical and fuel manufacturing hub of the country, if not the world. So in closing, I just want to say we've got some amazing partners already on board. We've partnered with the Northern Cape Economic Development Agency, Infrastructure South Africa. We've got the Industrial Development Corporation in South Africa on board, but we are very open to bringing other partners on board to help us accelerate the development of this amazing opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pillay, and also thank you very much to Mr. Mapicha, to Mr. Low for unpacking those opportunities in the Northern Cape. I think in the spirit of forging global partnership as echoed by Excellency Ambassador and the Premier, let this be a start in terms of engagement between South Africa and also the engagements between US and Northern Cape. And it's quite interesting to see that most of the products in terms of agriculture can be exported to US under AGOA and so on. And it's also interesting to see the interesting and exciting to see the preparedness of government and the partnership with the private sector, but also with the educational sector. Without wasting much time, I will invite our partner in hosting this event from the US side, Acting Consul General, Ms. Will Stevens, who is based in Cape Town, to provide the remarks from the US side. Will, you have the floor, sir.
Thanks, Melosi, and thank you. I get so excited when I hear from my colleagues at SASL to think about the idea of US and South African joint investment in one another. It's just great. It's a great honor to be here today with Honorable Premier Saul, Ambassador Mfeketo, a true legend and someone we all look up to here in Cape Town. So thank you for allowing me to join you and discuss opportunities for trade and investment in the Northern Cape. The United States and South Africa, as you all know, and that's why you're here, have a very robust bilateral trade and investment relationship. The United States is South Africa's third largest trading partner, and South Africa is the US's largest export market in sub-Saharan Africa. In 2020, despite the headwinds of COVID-19, we still achieved nearly $16 billion in bilateral trade. South Africa is also a leading destination for US foreign direct investment into Africa. In fact, in 2021, 60% of all foreign direct investment into the African continent came from the United States, and South Africa was a large recipient of much of that. There are more than 600 companies from the United States operating across South Africa. We estimate that they contribute more than 10% of South Africa's GDP. The US private sector's impact on the economy is massive, and we'd like to see it become even bigger. We believe that the work of the provinces in South Africa are a key driver of economic growth, and that's why we work so hard on subnational outreach, because we think it's beneficial to both sides. I'm proud to say in the last 2 years, we've developed a really strong relationship with Premier Saul, and thanks to his leadership, we've significantly increased our interactions and our cooperation. I look forward to coming to the province soon to see you again, Premier, probably in the next few weeks to see your State of the Province address. A member of my team was actually just in the province last week on a trade and investment focused trip to look at some of the great opportunities there are in energy production. We have several visits planned in the next few months focused on health partnerships, education, and skills development for provincial youth. Trade and investment evolves in different ways. And I'm so excited when I talk about how US trade often evolves here in South Africa. It often starts with an American supplier looking for simple exports. They come to the market, they want to bring great American products to South Africa. But as sales grow, they start to form partnerships. Sometimes, and many times, they form a joint venture with a great South African partner. And almost inevitably, this joint venture prospers. And the business continues to expand, and it leads to local investments in manufacturing and operations and expansion across South Africa and into the continent. I often say that the Cape is the entryway to South Africa, and South Africa is the entryway to sub-Saharan Africa. And that drives the mutual prosperity that we love to talk about. Let me share a few recent examples. A US company, EcoSolve, entered the South African market in 2019 with the help of our colleagues at the US Commercial Service. They have identified a local distributor, and together they're working with farmers in the Northern Cape to increase crop yields and boost the sustainability and regeneration of the local agricultural landscape with patented water enhancement devices. Another great example, the US firm Zolar Pump Company formed a joint venture with a South African company called Mascom Water, who we're going to hear from later. They assemble a wide range of water treatment plants, pumps, and other purification equipment in the region and in the Northern Cape for export all over the world. And in fact, some of the technology they developed is here with that partnership is so advanced that they're informing Zolar production in the United States. So again, you see that sort of two-way trade back and forth and sharing of ideas and partnership. In addition to the increased employment and commerce these transactions have spurred, these products and technologies from the United States are providing tangible solutions to real-life challenges, such as food, production, drought, and environmental sustainability. We have several US companies looking to invest directly in the Northern Cape. Recently, Amazon built their first solar power production plant in Southern Africa in the Northern Cape. This 10 megawatt solar project will supply renewable energy to the Amazon Web Services data centers here in Cape Town and contribute to South Africa's 2030 renewable energy goals. Beyond these commercial activities with US companies, we continue to support South African exports to the United States. And we're working with Northern Cape companies to increase their exports. On February 23rd, we will have a webinar titled Exporting to the United States that will be jointly hosted by the US Agency for International Development's Trade Hub and the Department of Economic Development and Tourism here in the Northern Cape. This webinar will feature discussions with US Trade Hub partners involved in supporting firms to export to the US. It's an opportunity for your great businesses in the Northern Cape to learn how they can use AGOA to get products to the United States and learn a little bit more about the in-depth knowledge needed to get through US market entry requirements and the various approaches used to successfully export to the United States. Our team here at the Consulate General is growing. We've added a principal commercial officer in the last year, and we've added a USAID officer. We also work closely with our colleagues at the Development Finance Corporation, the US Trade and Development Agency, the US Export-Import Bank, and the Department of Agriculture. Whatever you need, my team at the Consulate's ready to help. If you're a US company and you're thinking about coming into the market, please reach out to me. I'll put my email into the chat box so you can reach us directly. If you're thinking about investment or you're thinking about export, whatever it is, we're here to help. Our team is committed to increasing trade and development and investment between the United States and the Northern Cape. Thanks again. And I just want to say to my friends there in the Northern Cape, I think you feel this way already, but you'll find no better commercial partner than the US private sector. And I hope no better government partner than our team here at the Embassy and the Consulate General in Cape Town. Thank you so much for letting me join you today. And I look forward to coming to visit again soon. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stevens, for those energetic and all willingness to cooperate and willingness to promote mutually beneficial trade and investment relationship between South Africa and the United States. So we'll now move to one of the companies that you have spoken about. We'll now have the opportunity to hear from Mr. Gerard Cronje, who is the CEO of Maersk Motor, has had a very long-term relationship with the US, and it will be good to hear from you, sir, about your experience in terms of private sector dealing with the US. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Lucy. Honorable Ambassador and Premier of Northern Cape, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. We've pushed for time a little bit, so I'm going to go through this relatively fast. I believe the slideshow will be available afterwards as well. Basically, what I'd like to share with you is a timeline how a concept in 2009 turned into a full joint venture between two companies, one in the USA, one locally, and how that even spread out and affect other parts of Africa, the UAE, and even South America. So in 2009, Mr. Supel from the US Commercial Services contacted me. I had an irrigation company at the time, and he was looking for a distributor for solar pump companies situated in Louisville, Kentucky. So in the same year, one of my customers inquired about an on-site wastewater treatment plant. Now, we were not in the wastewater industry, but we found that Zollop not only offered pumps, but also very good quality and low operating cost wastewater treatment plants for smaller usage. So we imported the first pumps, and the first fusion was installed in August of 2010 in Provincial. By 2011, we started exporting fusions to Botswana, Mozambique, and Nigeria. And we became the sole distributor for solar in Sub-Saharan Africa. We're getting back to that a little bit later with other advantages for SMEs as well. 2012, we appointed dealers, which are local regional distributors in Namibia and Botswana, and we had the first exports to Botswana as well. 2013, the first exports to Kenya and Namibia, and in 2014, the first fusion exports to Mauritius and Ghana. So as you can see, we're growing into Africa and also the islands around. 2016, we did the first fusion exports to the UAE and to the DRC. Why the UAE from here? It is because of the shipping routes, and they were, from a pricing point of view, it made sense. But in 2016, we started local manufacturing of the smaller terrace fusions in South Africa as part of a joint venture with Solar from the States. The reason for that was to cut down on lead times and to cut down on transport costs, because the cost of shipping obviously has a huge impact if you move large volume. It's lightweight stuff, but large volume. By 2018, we started South African manufacturing of the larger fusion units, still part of the JV. And we bought a building in Van Rensdorp, moving the business out of the city of Cape Town. Now, Van Rensdorp is 30 kilometers from the Northern Cape border. It is a typical countryside town. I think the total population is about 5,000, if I'm not mistaken. So the main thing here is that there is opportunity even outside of the main centers and the main cities. 2020, our Van Rensdorp factory was fully operational. We already had 10 Claris fusions installed in the Northern Cape, including 2 wind farms. So here we have the green energy making use of green technology from a water point of view, because they treat the wastewater on site and recycle it. There's no wastage there and no pollution of the groundwater. We also have 2 accredited installers in the Northern Cape, looking after installations and also after sales service in those areas. 2021 saw the first fusions exported to South America. Now, this may look like we're taking jobs away from the US, but it's not, because of the exchange rate benefits and because of labor rates, etc. It actually works out cheaper where we import certain components from the US and we add the local manufacturing of the shells and piping, etc. in South Africa, we can actually now penetrate the market that was previously not possible. So there is advantages on both sides of the Atlantic. So we're creating jobs in the US and we're creating jobs in South Africa by doing this. For the Northern Cape, there's a business opportunity involved in this. We believe in spreading wealth and sharing wealth where we go. So Muscom Water only manufactures the fusions. There's still pumps and stuff that we import from the States as well. We do not do the installations. We do not do the after-sales maintenance of the plants. So these SMME opportunities where people can become distributors, can become accredited installers, and then do the after-sales service. Also keeping in mind that the water that is generated, remember we're taking wastewater, turning it into usable water, and with the Northern Cape being semi-desert, a large part of that being semi-desert, the additional water can also be beneficial to communities. Then the Northern Cape is ideally situated for exports to neighboring countries, Namibia, Angola, Botswana, DRC, Zambia, Zimbabwe. There's no reason why we cannot have distributors there that can even penetrate further into the SADC. This is in a nutshell, as you can see, started off with an idea, grew to a business that's now exporting to the UAE, into Africa, into South America. And this is possible. South Africans want to work, they want to be part of the global structures. So I think there's a lot of opportunity and similar opportunities going forward for companies both in South Africa and the US work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cronje, for all the efforts and also for this briefing from taking from an idea. I think as I was listening to you speaking, I'm just thinking about the concept of from the US through Northern Cape or through South Africa to the world, since the product that you are producing now are being exported to both regionally in the continent, but also to South America and other markets. Thank you very much for that briefing. So at this stage, I would like to request our communication team to switch off the YouTube and other media links that may be on now. This is so that we can have more intimate discussions and free-flowing discussions between